We have another call. Welcome to the wonderful world of CSI. I'm still helping Grissom with the caseloads, and I need you to head out to the computer game trade show at the Spheres Convention Center. We have another possible homicide. Nick Stokes will be your partner. You like Nick. Everybody does. But behind that easygoing, low-key charm of his, you'll find one of the best crime scene investigators anywhere.
Hey, I'm Nick. You into video games? Hope you like the shooting ones, because that's what we've got here. Vic took 3 hits, 2 in the torso, 1 between the eyes. Also, it's uncommonly warm in here. Feels like around 90 degrees. Not normal for a showroom floor with electronics. So, let's see what we can learn.
I have no idea. All I can say is Stan was like this when I found him. All shot up, bloody, horrible. Know him? Yeah, he's my boss. Was my boss. That's Stan Everston, the executive producer of our company, LZP. We're a gaming company, as you probably figured out. This is a demo room for the trade show attendees. We're showing our new game, Gut Wrench 3. Marketing director is the title. But the truth is, I'm kind of a jack of all trades. I put it all together, from packaging input to rolling this out to retailers and the public. You wear a lot of hats in the gaming industry. Well, last night, we set the booth up together. Or anyway, until I got burned out and was past the point of productivity. I bailed around 10:30. I should have gone back to my hotel and into the jacuzzi and then bed. But hey, one of the perks of doing a trade show in Vegas is Vegas, right? Lots of big parties hosted by the game companies. By the time I got back to the hotel, oh, God, it must have been way after midnight. Maybe, let me think, 2:15? Sure, Andy Penmore, the lead programmer. Well, the video game industry is inherently unusual, so that's a tougher one than it sounds. The ego, the testosterone in this little demo chamber. Could have sliced it and sold it for bacon. Stan didn't like to argue with Andy. Andy's too smart, got a wit and edge that'll cut you. Which is why Stan takes it out on me, usually. I mean, took it out on me. Maybe in the room he and Stan are sharing? They were sharing. Damn, this is gonna be hard to get used to. Stan is, like, really gone, isn't he? Gonna take some time to process that. But yeah, you should try his hotel room. We're here to showcase Gut Wrench 3. You come to these trade shows hoping to generate some major buzz in the gaming press. A game is a product. Like a candy bar you want to convince customers to take a bite out of. Actually, it's more than that. You want them to crave that candy, right? So we're showing retailers what we've come up with in a setting where they can get lost in the game. I spent 6 months on the pre-hype, and with a top-selling, established game franchise, hey, the next Gut Wrench is the most anticipated title in years. Gut Wrench 3 is going to change the face of first-person shooters forever. The new dynamic incapacitation system and improved spatter physics has taken this franchise to a level of realism that was impossible when Gut Wrench 1 launched. We're the best first-person shooter on the market. No, we're a few weeks away. Truth is, we already have commitments from most of the retailers here. Our primary goal now is to generate buzz, to encourage buyers to up their orders. Trouble is, we still have critical bugs to fix. And with Stan gone, who knows if we'll make the launch date. I have no idea. It's not supposed to be this hot. Maybe somebody played with our AC setting.
I've heard of life imitating art, but this is taking it a little too far. Can't be a coincidence that our Vic's body was found in the same posture as the guy on the poster. M4 assault rifle. You can do a lot of killing with this baby, but unless you're well trained with it, It's not exactly a good close-range defensive weapon. Here we have an empty mag and chamber and no GSR, so this puppy hasn't barked in a while. Also, its barrel has been modified. It couldn't fire real bullets if it wanted to. Sweet. The blood pool under the victim is smudged, indicating the body was dragged to this spot, probably posed. This needs attention ASAP. Let's use the mobile analysis unit. I'm not a medical examiner, but this looks like a handgun shot at close range. You should check for gunshot residue to be sure, but I'll bet you already knew that. From now on, I'll put any GSR samples we recover in a place where we can both access it. Not the right tool for this. Yep, the ID confirms this is Stan Everston. You know, I'll play just about any kind of video game, but I think I'll pass on this sucker. I see enough carnage on the job. Hey, you got gamer's eyes yourself. A stray bullet could have a lot to say to us about exactly what went down here. With high-end speakers like this, if the audio is cranked, a gunshot could easily be covered up. Funky characters. Kinda doubt you'd find these two walking around inside some ultraviolet game. Wonder how this t-shirt was ripped. Looks like a display case for weapons. Heavy-duty weapons. I bet these are all used in the game somehow. .45 automatic. This could be our murder weapon. Someone could have shot our Vic, then placed the gun back in the display.
Oh yeah, so loud. You couldn't hear yourself think, even from a distance. It's not one of ours. Our ex-designer was wearing a shirt like that yesterday. Hey, I don't do wardrobe. I'm marketing. No idea. Craig Landers. Used to work with us. Brilliant guy. He created the Fuzzy and Bill franchise for LZP. He's a little odd, but it's not really unusual for those creative types. You don't get into this business because you're normal. Honestly, I have no idea. He left before I was hired. No clue. If I had to guess, I'd say he's probably down on the show floor, trying to score free t-shirts or pictures with the booth babes. Sure. I know that'll help rule me out as a suspect.
We'd like to do a gunshot residue test as well. It's standard in all gun-related investigations.
Sure. I don't have any more to say.
You don't quite have a match there. Little details make all the difference when you're doing a comparison. When you're sure, ask me for confirmation. Hello. Maya had her hands on the M4 assault rifle. GSR from the Vic matches the residue on Maya's hands. For Stan being a hands-on boss, our marketing gal got around too. Blood on the floor is Everston's, suggesting he was shot inside that demo room.
Sure, I'll send a team right out. I would put it between 1 and 2:30 a.m. Normally, a body cools at 1 to 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit per hour, but the officer at the scene reported the air conditioning was off all night, which throws off the standard computations. With 3 shots to the body, blood loss collected from the floor is consistent. Your victim was very likely shot at that site. Glancing at the body, I figured the shots to the chest were probably fatal. One penetrated the right lung and bounced around, filling the lungs with blood, suffocating the victim. Only that wasn't the case here. Not much blood in the lungs. The shot to the head was fatal. Once it entered, the brain shut down and immediately stopped all bodily functions. Note the scattered nature of the gunpowder specks surrounding the entry wound. Some burned, some not, indicating the shot to the forehead was fired 12 to 16 inches away. Here are the rounds from the chest cavity. They're 22 LR cartridges based on the 2.5 gram average weight. This is recent bruising within an hour or two of death, revealing a clear knuckled outline with a strange pattern. A ring, perhaps. Could be either. Obviously, a .22 rifle or pistol uses the same ammunition. 2 very different angles of entry. 2 straight on, relatively, in the chest, but the forehead shot indicates an upward angle. Since you found the bullet in the wall slightly above the victim's chest, this tells us our Vic had fallen before the fatal headshot was dispatched. I've been pulling double shifts due to the workload, but I was able to get this for you. Stan Everston. No priors, much less convictions. Pretty well off. At least enough so to live in Beverly Hills, CA. Wife's been at home all week with their newborn son. The late Mr. Everston was executive producer at LZP Entertainment. He's worked for several big companies in the game biz, worked on several high-profile titles. But he has a rep for pushing people to new heights, sometimes pushing them too far. Finding enemies won't be a taxing task. Let me just check the computer. Okay, Mr. Everston was sharing a room with Andy Penmore. Next door is the gunslinging Ms. Maya Wynn. All checked in yesterday afternoon, Sphere Hotel.
Perhaps you have some ID?
We're with the Las Vegas Crime Lab. We have a few questions.
Yes, I'm Andy Penmore. Is this about Stan? He never came home last night, but then this is Las Vegas.
I'm afraid Mr. Everston is dead.
Is this some kind of weird joke? Craig behind this maybe? Or Maya? More of her off-the-wall publicity? I've been up all night slaving over some final tweaks Stan wants, and I'm in no mood for practical jokes.
No joke? He's dead. Murdered. In your demo booth.
No.
He was shot 3 times, Mr. Penmore. That's why we're here.
Oh my God. This is real. Really? Stan's my friend. He can't... We were just together last night, so... My God.
This is no game. This is real, Mr. Penmore.
Just last night, in the demo room, putting finishing touches on the presentation, looking for bugs, discussing these final tweaks. God, I can't believe this. I headed back to my hotel room at around 1 in the morning. Stan wanted me to get on those fixes, and he stayed at the booth, preparing for the media demo today. No, nobody I saw, anyway. Sure, this is a disaster, personally and professionally. I'll help in any way I can. Anything you need.
Looks like this area is clean. Way to be thorough. Looks like this area is clean. Way to be thorough. Vic had a cell number, but we didn't recover a phone from the body. Did the killer lift it for some reason? Hey, a scorpion. Maybe we ought to call Grissom. Oh, I keep forgetting you're new. Grissom gets excited about bugs. Only, I don't know if you'd call this a bug exactly. Hey, that's Fuzzy and Bill from that t-shirt we found. Looks like they've also been killed. Their video game got the axe. Looks like a number of hardcore fans were pretty teed off. Email's corrupted. A virus, maybe? Well, Miss Wynn painted a picture of a hype machine rolling happily along, but It looks like Stan the man was not so happy with her marketing campaign. That's pretty interesting.
Sure, of course. At a big show like this, he'd be dead without it. Oh, sorry, poor choice of words. Let me think. Yeah, he had it, because he text messaged me right after I got back to the room. Asked me to order a Cobb salad from room service and have it waiting for him. Thing's still sitting here, wilting. Just that I saw Maya wad it up and throw it at Stan yesterday, right after we checked in. She was pissed. Actually, the surprise would have been for her not to be. You see, she and Stan, they've been at each other's throats for 3 weeks. It's been getting nastier and nastier as we got closer and closer to this show. They did not see eye to eye on the market strategy at all. Stan's. Well, looks kinda bad, sort of sick at the moment, but I let this friend of ours do that as a practical joke. Thing was dead, couldn't hurt him, and Craig said Stan would get a kick out of it. Those two were always doing that kind of thing to each other, so I just went along. Hell no, it was dead. Couldn't hurt him, or me for that matter. He's a game designer who was one of the founders of the company with Stan, even before I arrived. He left about a year ago. His sense of humor is kind of out there, call it an acquired taste. For example, just before he left the company, when he was working on Gut Wrench 3, he put in a cheat code that lets you kill the boss. Of course, killing bosses is common in shooting games. At the end of a level, it's usually big bad guys or grotesque monsters or whatever. Not yuppie businessmen who look exactly like Stan Everston. You had to be there. Anyway, this was about the time Stan fired him. Gee, I have no idea. He drove here on his own just to attend the trade show and hang out with us. I couldn't give you his license under hypnosis, man. It's some SUV, American make, I think. Ask Maya, why don't you? Craig was hitting on it pretty hard yesterday, and they were getting friendly. Saw him exchange phone numbers. Yeah, it is.
May we collect it as evidence?
Well, I know I said I'd do anything to help out, but there is a line. I have a lot of stuff coming through here, like time-critical bug reports on the game. I'm sorry, I can't give it up, especially since it has nothing to do with Stan's death.
These marks are insect bites, or more precisely stings. The tox screen isn't back, but these could be the work of a wasp. He was lucky to avoid infection, if indeed any murder victim can be called lucky. With fresh clotting like this, the man got stung within the last 48 hours. Well, the tox screen is in. While there was no venom detectable in the bloodstream, a high number of antibodies were present, confirming the sting happened within 48 hours. Could be a yellow jacket, could be a scorpion. Well, most of them are non-lethal, to adults at least. Worst case, the sting could have caused anaphylactic shock, like a bee or wasp sting. A severe reaction can cause death, but not in this case.
Looks like our Vic was busy making friends right up to the end. With a text message this close to the time of death, this could have provoked an attack. Or the messages could have been sent after the murder. Maybe somebody used Everston's cell phone to send messages, throwing off the time of death.
Hey, how's the video game case going?
It's not game over yet. We've got some suspects, including a high-strung marketer, an aloof programmer, and a mysterious designer.
Any good physical evidence yet?
Nothing substantial, but it's still early in the case. We just ran his phone messages. It looks like he sent this message just before he died.
Maybe. Didn't Doc Robbins report the time of death was estimated? And you didn't actually find his phone at the scene.
If Stan sent the last message just before he died, Where's his phone? Maybe someone else sent that message after the murder and then tossed the phone.
You know what Grissom would say.
Yeah. Follow the evidence. I would have encrypted this little number myself if I was standing up to a boss like that. I've printed this love letter out for you. Striations from the bullet in the wall match the bullet in the victim.
I wasn't keeping track. Best guess, 1 a.m., a little after. Call it 5 after. Shouldn't be too hard. There's security cameras in the lobby. Can't you check those out?
That tells us what time you were in the lobby. But what else can you tell us?
Well, I remember I watched a pay-per-view movie last night. That's something the company doesn't pay for, by the way. Got to cover all incidentals ourselves. Anyway, I've got the receipt right here.
Revenge of the Psycho Blood Mutants. Brass could check that out on the security cam footage.
Yeah, I had the phone company track it to a general area using the GPS. It just arrived. The security chief at the Sphere says their videotape puts Andy Penmore returning at 1:08 a.m. and staying put. Maya didn't get in until 2:15, giving her a half hour to do who knows what. With the hotel connected to the convention center, she has opportunity, all right.
We've done all we can do with that item. We've done all we can do with that item. Okay, let's fire a bullet from the 45. This will give us a striation sample. The 45 appears unmodified. It has 3 bullets in its clip. I processed the GSR from the 45's hammer. There's an anomaly, though. The 45 has 2 different variations of gunshot residue. One matches the 45, but the second is from some other bullet. I ran the serial number through Firearms Registration Database, and the computer tells us this isn't a gun club gun. It was owned and registered to our victim.
It's Stan's. He bought it for his 45. He used it last night at the gun club.
We have a very angry lady who likes to hold guns. And she also has GSR in her hands that matches the GSR on the Vic. Yeah, let's bring her in for questioning.
No! I'm the one who rented the thing. Why wouldn't my prints be on them? We were at a firing range and, keep this to yourself, but I overslept after partying last night and skipped my shower. I created a team-building exercise to boost morale to blow off steam. It was also part of our marketing position, how we put realism into the game. It was a photo op. We had our pictures taken while firing guns for sending out to the media. It was our core team, me, Stan, and Andy, plus Craig. Stan invited him too, at Andy's insistence. I guess it was old loyalty to a founding member. Couple of them. I kinda dig handguns, and they look good on me. Ever seen those Hong Kong action movies? Chicks with guns? I started with a .22, but it just didn't do it for me. So I switched to a .45. That one kicked ass. Oh, sorry. That must really sound in bad taste. The rest of the weapons are still waiting to be picked up at the gun club. I brought the M4 assault rifle over early to ensure it would fit in the display. The realism of our game stems from the fact that every in-game gun is modeled after the real deal. And we had them here at the booth to make that point. This industry is heavily male-oriented, including the retailers, and everybody knows boys like toys. So I brought the toys for the boys to look at. No, we originally arranged to rent replica guns for the show, but when we picked them up, they all had a red cap on the muzzle. Gut Wrench 3 is all about realism. There's no way we can display weapons that are obviously toys. This was a last-minute wild idea I had, out at the gun club. I suggested we rent them from the club, and Stan loved the idea. I don't know exactly. I mean, I don't live here. I just hopped in a cab and said gun club. You're detectives, right? How about checking a phone book? Craig started Fuzzy and Bill as an online comic, right? And then spun off into an indie comic book, popular but a cult thing. So when the game was announced, it was like, I don't know, the second coming or something to those comic nerds. So of course they went postal when the game was scrapped.
How postal did they go?
They're hardcore fans of the comic, and a vocal minority that stirs up all kinds of online trouble. But they're still a minority, all talk and no sell-through. A few thousand crying fans is nothing when hit games sell millions of copies. I mean, have you heard of Fuzzy and Bill?
What I don't get is how this Fuzzy and Bill game is tied to launching Gut Wrench 3.
LZP is a successful company, for sure, but a small one. We only have so much personnel, and for that matter, cash flow. And anyway, my marketing research showed that another Fuzzy and Bill would never generate enough sales to break even, let alone show a profit. But Gut Wrench 3, on the other hand, builds on two enormously successful games, and is what the mass public wants commercially. We'll achieve total market penetration with Gut Wrench 3. It's a no-brainer. Hardly at all. I just met him yesterday evening at that gun club. Apparently he helped LZP get off the ground, and of course I knew about his game getting killed.
Andy says you were acting very friendly. Mind telling us what that was about?
What happened to what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas?
You're still in Vegas. What happened?
Look, let's keep this confidential, because I got a life back home. Have you ever met somebody at a party or something and clicked and wound up in the backseat of a car? I found Craig a little bit cute last night, and I was half drunk.
When did you leave his car?
I left Craig around 1:30 or so, in the AM. Garage underneath the Sphere Convention Center. Only Craig isn't staying at the Sphere. Isn't staying anywhere, really. He's between gigs and on a tight budget. A new GMC Envoy. I even know his license plate because it was personalized after the characters in his game, Fuzzy and Bill. FZYBIL, I think. Look, when you get hired for a job, it's because you got the right credentials, right? I've got a master's in marketing, but Stan thinks he knows how to do my job better because he's a guy. These last 2 weeks, man, they've been brutal.
What do you mean?
The company's come under a lot of critical fire lately, over the same old blah blah, excessive violence, lack of morality. I tried to tell him that negative publicity was a good thing, but he told me I just didn't get it. I'm a woman in a man's world, you know? If a girl doesn't play hardball, she gets rolled over. I worked too hard to have some chauvinist like Stan keep me from reaching my goals. I mean, I'm sorry he's dead. He was talented. This wasn't anything you'd kill anybody over. A professional disagreement that got a little ugly, is all. We rented the weapons from the gun club. I have no idea if they were modified or not. I didn't purchase any ammo. They were for show only. Stan couldn't see renting a .45 automatic when he just bought one. Sure, it was real. Hadn't been modified for safety, but hey, it was unloaded. And it's not like somebody would be walking around the trade show with a pocket full of bullets. Yesterday that sounded more reasonable, I admit. Well, he said he bought it for the company. It's the first weapon the art and sound staff used as reference. Andy thought he could program the game more realistically if he was familiar with the weapon, with its physics, as Andy put it. As I said, we are all about realism. The game has to be convincing. Again, realism and promotion. All of us here would role-play a combat situation, right in the booth, every few minutes. Which is why I'm dressed for action, and sadly, Stan is too.
I don't understand. What's the point of play acting shoot 'em up?
To bring the game to life. To make the buyers feel like they were inside the game. To stimulate them to see our game over every other one here. Listen, a trade show is a kind of carnival. And this was effective. And yes, it was my idea. And hey, I'd have gone farther with it if I could. I wanted to fire off blanks, but the fire marshal nixed it. Too unsafe.
So you had no form of live ammunition in your play acting?
Nothing. Yeah, he was. Not for real, of course. But his role was to take the hit, yes, and I was the shooter. We rehearsed it a couple times right before I left last night. I just point the empty gun at him, timing it to the demo, and mime to the game sound effects. I'm a professional, but I'm human, okay? He was unprofessional and would not let the hell up, so I snapped back. That's one of those bad things about text messaging, You wind up writing things you'd never say. I didn't threaten his ass. He was pushing too hard, and I told him to back off. That's no threat.
So when you say, keep pushing and I will push back, you meant that in the nicest way.
All I meant was, clean up your act, or I'm out of here. Listen, these video game guys, they're kids. Eternal kids. Well, I'm not a kid. But I do have a kid, a 10-year-old, who I like to see now and then on the rare occasion. And as a single mom facing week after week of extended periods of crunch time, well, enough's enough. It's just not worth it. How about a boss who demands everything and doesn't appreciate anything? A micromanager who changes his mind with the wind and saves up the biggest changes for the last minute. The smallest concern, the biggest ordeal imaginable. How's that for a complaint?
Anything else?
Well, Stan would go on and on and on about needing to get real, to bring the gritty reality of combat into not just the game, but my campaign, while dealing with the media backlash as well.
So how can you reason with a guy like that? You tried at the gun club and it was like shooting blanks. So you decided to shoot him with something else.
And here's where I break down, right? Under your expert interrogation? Sorry. I hated the jerk. He was driving me insane, but I didn't kill him.
We have security video showing you getting back to your room half an hour after you left Craig's. Your hotel room is less than 5 minutes away. What, you stopped to gamble?
No, I'd already gambled enough going for a one-night backseat stand. In fact, I sat at the curb and just held my head in my hands and thought about my life and my kid, and I said I was human. A tired human who let go for once. Fresh air felt good.
Indeed, Craig Landers, game designer, visionary, master of the universe. I'd invite you into my office, but it's a little cramped. What's up? Ooh, sounds serious. I'll see if I can whip up a few answers. Is it serious, guys? Must have been, last night sometime. Why, you looking for him? Try the LZP demo booth. Dude lives there.
Dude died there last night. Murdered, Mr. Landers.
What is this? What, some kind of joke or something? Hey, you're not kidding, are you? Hey, that's crazy. He was breathing the last time I saw him, which must have been around 10 p.m. after the party. We walked to my car, here. He was like my brother. I mean, LZP was our mutual thing, grew out of what we had, which was friendship. But like all brothers, we had our problems, business stuff. But we went back to the birth of LZP. Anyway, he invited me to this launch party last night, so you can see we were tight, even now. Of course, with a demanding dude like that, control freak, he's bound to rub people the wrong way. You'll have a lot of suspects to sort out. Maybe I can help. Just happen to be between gigs, but with my rep, hey, I'll find something. One of the reasons I'm here at the show is to network and let people know I'm available. See, most designers would be at the show on somebody else's expense account, but right now, I'm on my own dime. Only I don't have many at that. Since opening day of the trade show? Guys, you're not going to bust me for camping out, are you? I'm doing business. Give me a break. Have a heart. Don't make me move my wheels.
Parking garage security isn't the crime lab's deal, but I can see why you like the location. Pretty close to the convention center.
You're right about that. I'm not in Vegas for the gambling. A game expo like this is a prime opportunity for a designer like me to hook up with a new company. Easy for somebody with my record to talk to the top people and recruiters. Plus, I gotta stay current, see what the competition's up to and where the virtual world is heading.
Must be pretty tough, playing video games all day.
Must be tough eating donuts all day. No offense, but as often as you hear that, I get what you said. This is a tough, demanding business. Kill or be killed. I meant that figuratively. Maya, yes. Yeah, sure. Great girl. Woman. We connected. I've always had a kind of thing for Asian beauties, and she sure qualifies. And smart and funny. Wow. We took off after the party and had a few drinks and wound up in my little four-wheel suite here.
Did you discuss her outburst with Stan?
Maybe I better go for full disclosure here. One of the things we bonded over was our mutual frustration with Stan, and what a tyrant he's been lately. It's a bummer to think about now. Oh, well, I wasn't exactly watching my watch, but I'd say, just before midnight, we were together in the, on the back seat there till 1:30-ish. Tried to do the gentlemanly thing and offer her a ride, but she said, oh, don't be silly, she could walk. It was just one of the outlying buildings attached to the Sphere complex. Yeah, there it is. I was handing them out at the show to, hype up the characters. Where'd you find it?
We found this at the crime scene.
I have no idea. Maybe someone tore one I handed out? Where else? So right here in my office, which is also my bedroom. I played a few games on my handheld and finally drifted off to sleep. Game map of killing... Oh, come on, you can't be serious. That was a joke, an inside joke, which was the last thing I designed at LZP before we fell out and I left the company. Surprisingly, he wasn't thrilled. He had a sick sense of humor. We had that in common, a kind of dark, practical joker streak, so I thought he'd laugh. But all of a sudden, Stan reacted like he'd grown a stick up his butt. That was the last reason I needed to hasta la vista. It was just time. I'd been in on the ground floor of LZP and helped guide its direction for years, but Stan was moving us into increasingly more violent games, and I was thinking we were getting... I'm no prude or censor, but we were definitely skirting the edge of irresponsible, okay? Kids get access to these games, even the restricted ones, and I got into this field to give players entertainment, challenging entertainment sometimes just sheer fun. But blowing people away in increasingly realistic explosions of blood and brains and bone, well, let's just say it wasn't my dream. I'm staying perfectly straight with you guys. Yes, I put it there. It was one of the little guys I rounded up out in the desert.
Why'd you put it in his bed?
Haven't you heard anything I've said? We were practical jokers. Stan and me, even Andy. I know it sounds like bizarre video gamer bonding, but it's true. I've told you everything I know.